Okay, now we will solve this Sag Parabolic Cables, which is common also in our board exam. Okay, so looking this situation, the cable supports a water pipeline by means of equally spaced hanger as shown. Okay, ito yun. So ganito kasi yan, when a pipe is supported by equally spaced hanger, that will probably create a parabolic cable, or it will form the cable natin into parabolic form. Okay, ipaporma niya into parabolic. So here, kadalasang mga tanong dito is calculate the maximum tension in the cable, the minimum tension in the cable, then calculate the length of the cable. Ito yung mga kadalasang tinatanong dito. Okay, so how can we calculate the maximum and the minimum tension in the cable? So ito yung tatandaan nyo pag ganitong mga problem. The maximum tension in the cable, it is located at the highest elevation ng cable natin. Well, in this case, this is the cable, highest elevation nito is yung point A and point B. Of course, since they are aligned man lang. Now, if it will happen na hindi magka-elevate yung A and B natin, yung mas higher elevation yung magkakaroon ng tension or maximum tension. Okay? Now, the minimum tension in the cable will be always located at the sag point, or dito, sa pinakamababang elevation. Okay? Always yan. Okay? So, how can we do this? So, okay, by free body diagram, okay, this will be the component reaction at A, and of course, ito yung total reaction of A, or that is just simply the maximum tension in the cable. Okay, and it will be the same dito sa kabila. Since symmetry man lang yung arrangement dito, okay, ito yung TB, okay, and ito yung mga components niya. Okay, now, okay, the resultant force dito, okay, balik ko lang. Okay, take note that this is 10 kilonewtons per meter. Meaning, yung resultant force natin dito will be acting at this center line. Of course, since this is a uniformly distributive load, and that is just 10 times 50. And this will give us 500 kilonewtons. Okay? Now, how to calculate the maximum tension? So, I said kanina that the maximum tension will be always at the highest elevation. Since the same sila ng elevation, sila yung dalawa, ang TA and TB will be the same, will have the same tension, or they are both maximum tension in that cable. Okay, one of the principle dito, the line of action at A and the line of action at B should always meet at the point where the resultant force of the uniformly distributed load will act. Always yan magbi-meet dyan. Okay, of course, that is to maintain the equilibrium. Okay, concurrent sila. Okay, ito yung one way of calculating this one. Okay, by knowing that they will meet on that point, meaning that they are concurrent forces. Okay, so by this we can actually solve directly TA and TB by just summation of forces vertical or summation of forces horizontal. Okay, parang ginawa natin yung method of joint sa truss lang at this point. Okay, now take note, another important principle ng parabola or parabolic cables, if we will draw a tangent line at any 2 points of the parabola, they will always meet halfway within their horizontal distances. Okay, ganito yan. Diba, this is, if we take this point A and point B dito, and we will draw a tangent line, and of course, the tangent line will be the same action sa line of action ng ating force or the tension. Ito yun. And the same dito. Okay, and ito yung ito yung principle ng parabola. They will always meet halfway. So, if that is 50 meters, 25 meters yan. Of course, dito rin. Okay, now, sinabi ko kanina, pwede natin gawin yung summation of forces vertical or horizontal taking at this joint. Parang method of joint sa truss lang. Okay, how can we do that? Of course, we need to calculate the angle of inclination ng forces first natin. So, how can we do that? Okay, so how can we calculate the angle of inclination ng forces dyan? Okay, the same principle yung gagamitin natin. Okay, by knowing that if we take two tangent lines between the parabola, they will meet always halfway. Okay, ito yon. If I will take this point as one point and I will take point B as another point, that one, of course, ito yung tangent line ng sag natin. Okay? And this one is also tangent line at this point B. Meaning, they will meet halfway at this point. Okay, ano yung ibig sabihin nito? Meaning, if this one up to that point, that is 25 meters, they will meet halfway, and that is 12.5. Dito rin, 12.5. Okay? So, by this, we can actually calculate the angle of inclination ng B by considering this right triangle. Take note that we have this sag 1 meters and we have this already, the horizontal dimension dito. Okay? And again, as you can see, since yung point A and point B is in the same elevation, meaning yung angle of inclination ng TB will be the same at TA. Okay? So, isa lang yung i-analyze natin dito. Okay, and that angle theta is just the same dito, and of course dito, and that is just the arctangent of opposite 1 meters over the adjacent 12.5, and that is 4.57 degrees. Okay, so our drawing is not so scaled. Okay, so anyways, yung mga values yung gamit natin dito. Now, after we calculated the angle of theta, we can directly calculate the TA and TB by just summation of forces vertical first, since we know that TA should be equal to TB, and that is just the maximum tension. Okay, by that we can say that the T maximum sine of theta, okay, itong dalawa, so i-times 2 na lang natin. Okay, that is just this one, TA sine of theta plus TB sine of theta, and TA and TB is equals, i-times 2 na lang natin, minus 500, and we calculate the maximum tension in the cable, and that is the answer. Okay, masyadong malaki, no? Gawa-gawa ko lang tong mga values dito kasi. Okay, now the minimum tension in the cable naman, again, as I've said kanina, that the minimum tension will be acting at the lowest elevation. Okay, so excuse me muna, let me drink some water. Okay, proceeding. So, how to calculate the minimum tension in this cable? So, gagawin natin is ikakat natin yung cable halfway dyan. And we will expose the force in that sag point. Okay? So, may prepare pala akong ibang solution dito, na? Okay, by force triangle, since we have only here 3 forces, so we can actually calculate this by force triangle or force polygon. So we have this 500 kilonewtons, this one that is TA, and that one that will be TB. So dapat mag-close sila para maging equilibrium. Now if we have this angle here, we have this angle theta within this horizontal, okay, that will make angle theta with the horizontal, and this TB also makes with angle theta with the horizontal. If this is theta, ito rin, theta rin yan. And this is theta. And anong matitira dito? If we have this 4.57 degrees, and take note that this is a triangle, and the sum of all angles in the triangle is 180, meaning 180 degrees. I mean, this one should be equal silang dalawa, since the same angle of inclination man yung TA and TB natin. So you can directly calculate that. Okay, you can solve na this angle na. Okay, I will not go further dito, masyado siyang basic. Now, by sine law, TA over the sine of the opposite angle, that one, TB, and that one is equals to the 500 over the sine of opposite angle twice of theta, and we have this, and we calculate TB, and of course that is the same with TA, and that is the maximum. This will give us the same answer lang din. Okay, so anyways, that is another solution lang. Now let's proceed to the minimum tension. Okay, so taking note that we have this. Now if we will cut this halfway, ayun, so dito ma-expose natin yung force T minimum. Okay, again, minimum tension will always act at the lowest point, and that is always horizontal in direction. Okay, since lowest point of the parabola, if we draw a tangent line there, that will be horizontal line. Okay, kaya always minimum tension will be is a horizontal direction. Now take note that this is, if this is horizontal, now if we take summation of forces horizontal, the only force that will resist this is this horizontal component of the total reaction of that, or we can say that 3137.7 cosine of theta, that one, minus T minimum equals to 0, and we have this T minimum. Again, always yan. And by the way, lahat ng horizontal component, even if we take this point, or this point, or this point, or anywhere sa parabola, constant yung horizontal component dyan. Okay? As you remember in the projectile motion, di ba lahat ng horizontal component ng velocity is the same? That is the same manner dito. Lahat ng horizontal component ng forces dito should be equals. Okay, so anyways, that is another principle you should know. Now, let's try to derive. May formula na derived kasi dito in T minimum. Okay, so by knowing this, look at this, we can actually solve T minimum. In case hindi pa natin alam, hindi natin to sinolve una, no? If we cut at that point and we need to calculate this T minimum lang, hindi niya pinapahanap yung maximum tension in the cable, so i-cut natin yan at the lowest point. Now, summation of moment at B, okay, in this case at B ako mag-moment, so that will be T minimum times, let's call this D muna. Okay, derive natin yung formula. Let's call that yung sag is D. Okay, so minus W, let's say that is W, and take note that this is just half ng total length, 0.5 of L, then the moment arm dito is 0.5 of L over 2. Okay, and that's why we derive this formula in the minimum tension of the cable, WL squared over 8D. And take note that we only derive this on a symmetrical, kumbaga same elevation yung A and B natin. Okay? Now, number 3. For number 3, calculate the length of the cable. Okay, so balik tayo dito. Let's consider this length lang. Okay, so actually may formula dito, but I want to introduce you something na pinaka general, no, in calculating length of an arc. Kahit sa calculus magagamit natin ito, or sa calculus naman talaga ito. Okay, how can we calculate that? O, ganito yan. Let's consider a differential triangle dito. Okay, wag kayong matakot dito. I will derive lang the formula. Then, kayo, if hindi nyo na kailangan i-derive yan, syempre, i-memorize na lang yung formula para sa board exam. And I will zoom this out. Okay, so I will consider this as a reference point. And I will advise you to always consider ito yung itong left point ng ating parabola. Okay, so consider that this is y and x axis. So this is dx, okay, differential x, this is dy, and ito yung differential arc length natin. Let's call that ds. Okay, by knowing that this is a right triangle, ds squared is equals to dx squared plus dy squared. Okay, so we are after here to calculate the total length of this cable. Now, I will divide this by dx, the whole term divided by dx, magiging ganito yan, dx squared over dx squared divided by dx squared lahat. Okay, that will be ganyan. Now, this one will be cancelled out and magiging ganito yan. Okay, ilabas ko lang yung squared, 1 plus dx over dy squared, dy over dx squared. Okay, now rearrange again yung squared is we square root both sides para cancel out yung square dito, and magiging ganito yan. And take note that dy over dx is the first derivative or the slope y prime squared. Now I will cross multiply this dx pabalik sa right side. It will give us this times dx. Now if we integrate this both sides, this will be the formula. The total length of this cable, or actually this is the general formula in calculating arc length. Any curve, okay, you can calculate that by using this formula. Integral of 1 plus y prime squared from x1 to x2. Well, in this case, we will always use limits from 0 to the length na horizontal length na 50 meters dito. Okay? Pag mga ganitong problem. Kaya advice ko na always tayong mag-reference dito sa left point. Okay? So, para hindi kayo malito sa limits. If master nyo na to, it depends sa inyo na kung saan nyo yung mag-reference point. Now, knowing this, paano natin i-calculate yung y prime? Ito lang naman yung objective natin, how to know the y prime. Okay, by knowing that this is a parabola, and parabola is given by this equation, y is equals a plus bx plus cx squared, that one, and y prime yung gusto natin na i-substitute dito. So, first derivative dito, madali lang naman. Okay? So, first derivative, derivative of a, that is a constant, so 0. Derivative of bx, that will be, derivative of x is 1, so magiging b, plus derivative of cx squared, 2cx. Okay? So, madali lang to. Ito lang naman yung i-substitute natin dyan. Now, how to calculate this b and c dito? Okay? So, magiging ganito yung equation natin. Ang formula in calculating parabolic cable, parabolic length. Okay? Ito yon. Pag mga ganitong problem na lang, para hindi kayo malito. Okay? Now, calculate natin yung b and c by mode 3, since that is a parabola. Okay? I will show you that. Pakita ko muna dito. Ang lalabas sa calculator is x and y. Now, when x is 0, our y, of course, from here is 0. Now, we need 3 points in parabola. Okay, mode 3, 3, 3, 3. Yeah, that tatlong points. Okay, so that is joke. So, another point is known. Another point known is itong sa center. When x is 25 meters, yung y natin is negative 1. That is below the axis natin. Okay, y is negative 1. Now, another point known is dito. When y is 50, x is 50, of course, y is 0. Dito tayo sa reference point. Okay, that is 0. Now, I want you to calculate yung b and c, at least yung b and c na lang. Ito naman yung magagamit natin dito. Ipakita ko siguro sa inyo sa calculator. This one. Or maybe this one. Okay, the same lang naman yung function. Okay, you can use the canon or you can use the 570. The same function lang sila. Okay, so on my previous video sa mga sa review natin, ginagamit ko yung canon. So here we can also use this one. Ipakita ko lang ha. Okay, para ma-differentiate nyo. Di ba sa canon mode, saan ba yun? Mode 5. Dito sa 570 mode equation 5. No, mode 3 pala. Mode stat. Di ba sa stat tayo doon? Mode 3. Then, ito yung equation ng parabola. Okay, doon sa canon, that is in mode, nakalimutan ko. Basta hanapin yung stat, then hanapin yung quadratic formula or quadratic equation. Dito sa 570, ito yon, mode 3. That one. Then, we need 3 points. Okay, so, pinakita ko na dito. 0, 25, then 50, then sa kabila, that will be 0, 0, and that one is negative 1, and we have 0. Then I will store yung A. Press AC muna. Then, hanapin natin yung B and C na lang. And that is in ship. Then, dito, stat. Mas madali siya sa Canon. Yung apps na button lang yung i-click natin. Then, hanapin yung stat. Then, regression sa Canon 8 ito. Basta, ito yung tandaan nyo. Regression. Then, kunin ko si B. Store ko na lang si B dito para hindi tayo malito. Then, balik. Ship, then stat. Then, regression 5. Then, kunin ko si C. Then, I will store this to C. Ayaw gumana ng emulator ko sa Canon. Ewan ko. Okay, now, I will press AC. Then, set up ko lang yung memory. Now, i-follow na natin itong formula. But that is just by integral of the square root of this 1. Take note that we say B and C. Store B plus 2CX. Ayun. Okay. And limits is from 0 until the length of the parabola. 50. And this will give us that answer. No, naka-squared pala ito, no? This term, CX squared. Ayun. Okay. So, of course, hindi, kaya nakita ko na mali yun, hindi pwedeng mas maliit sa horizontal length yung makuha natin sa parabola. Of course, dapat mas mataas ito. That is 50.05. Konti lang yung changes niya since napakaliit ng sag with respect sa horizontal length. Okay, and that is the answer. Part 3. Okay, madali lang. Now, let's try this. Hindi same elevation yung B. So, the same maximum tension, minimum tension, length of the cable, the same questions. Now, we have this 12 kilonewtons per meter. Okay, so ano yung unang gagawin to calculate the maximum tension? Ito yung nasa highest elevation, and here, that is point A. Okay, so, first free body diagram. That is TA, ito yung TB. Okay, let me drink water muna. Okay, let's go back. So, this one will always act at the center, yung uniformly distributed load. Since ang uniformly distributed load is a rectangular form lang. Okay, that will always act the center, and that is 12 times 30, and that is 360 newtons. Now, again, I said kanina na yung force at point A and the force at point B will always act kung saan ito nag-a-act yung ating resultant force dito. Okay? Let me show you this. Dapat they will meet at this action para maging equilibrium talaga. Okay? Pag non-parallel yung forces natin, they will always meet at one point. Ito yon. Okay? And of course, ito yung property ng parabola. If we draw tangent line at any 2 points, that is ito, and ito, it will meet halfway ng ating length. Okay, ito yung pinakamagandang property ng parabola. Now again, yung solution natin kanina is method of joints dito. So, we need to calculate the angle of inclination ng A and B. Since iba-iba na sila, since hindi sila the same elevation, iba-iba yung angles nila. Okay, unahin natin to. Di ba hindi na sa gitna yung sag point or pinaka lowest point? So, we need to calculate this point up to that point and also this point up to B. So, let's assume this is X. And that one is 30 minus X, of course. No? And by square property of parabola, please recall this. Ano yung square property ng parabola? Okay, by the way, if this point A, we draw tangent line at point dito sa sag, they will meet half point, di ba? Within this length. Okay, so this will be x over 2. Eto rin x over 2. Okay, so analyze muna tayo dito. Let's calculate the x muna. Okay, so by SPP, that will be x squared over the y squared, or y, that is 12, must be equals to the 30 minus x squared, this horizontal distance, over 6. Ito itong kanya. Distance from that point up to the sag point. Okay, that is the definition of this dito sa baba, yung y. Now, we calculate the x, that is 17.57. So, what's next? Okay, substitute ko lang dyan. Okay, and of course, ito is 30 minus, that one is 30 minus 17.57, that is 12.43. Now, after we know this, we can calculate this one, that is x over 2 or 8.79. Half nito. The same dito. Of course, ito rin, half nito, they will meet halfway, and half nito. Okay, klaro? Now, because of this, we can calculate the angle of inclination ng forces natin. Considering the triangle, alpha, let's call this beta, and alpha here is just arctangent of 12 over this 8.79, that is the angle. Beta here, opposite 6 meters over the adjacent, and that is 44.01. Now, after we know that angles here, we can do sa method of joints dito, no? At this joint, nagbi-meet sila. Okay? Summation of forces vertical, that will be TA, yung vertical component, sine of alpha, plus TB, sine of beta, that will be equals to 360. Ito yung equation 1. Now, equation 2, summation of forces horizontal, that will be negative TA, cosine of alpha, that is going to the left, plus yung TB, yung horizontal component that is going to the right, cosine of beta, walang ibang force na horizontal dyan, so equate natin to 0. So please grab your calculator, and we can calculate TA and TB by 2 equations, 2 unknowns, and we have this. Okay, so ano yung maximum tension? That is the TA, of course. Ito yung hinahanap. Okay, so actually you can do summation of moment kanina pa lang if alam na natin yung angle of inclination ng A alpha. Summation of moment of both B. Okay, but baka malito kayo kasi yung moment arm na dito. Okay, so, well anyways, this is also a best solution, right? Now, minimum tension in the cable, so hindi na applicable yung formula dito since hindi the same elevation ng A and B. So, i-cut talaga natin. Okay, that is the answer for part 1. So, again, pinakita ko kanina, no, sinabi ko pa na yung minimum tension will be always the horizontal components of either the TA or TB, the same lang. Okay? So, lahat ng components horizontal will be equals yun na sa parabola. Okay? And that is just, okay, kahit TA cosine of alpha, that is ito. Or TB cosine of beta, the same lang yan, lalabas. Okay, that is the minimum tension. Now, calculate the length of the cable. So, na-derive na natin kanina. Ano yung gagawin? Let's assume that this is our reference point or axis. Formula, that one. And we need to calculate the B and yung C natin dito by mode 3-3 in the calculator. So, X, Y. So, we need 3 points. Let's say point A. X is 0, Y is 0. At this point, X is 17.57, Y is from here up to the lowest point, that is 12 or negative 12 meters sa baba. Then, when X is 30, Y is, take note, from here, ito yung reference point up to that point, negative 6. Okay, so after that, you can follow na, no, saan yung kukunin yung B and C. Okay, hindi ko na lang ipapakita. Now, using that formula, from 0 to 30, of course, ito yung length. Okay, I hope you can get na yung coefficient B and C dito. Pinakita na natin. Then, that is the answer.